Hi, everybody. This is Warren Herman, and today we're going to speak about an interesting distinction that we can bring to bear about our thinking about our paths in life. These are two words or suffixes in the Japanese language. One of them is do, or way, and jutsu, which means like fighting techniques, basically. These are things you'll find at the ends of certain words like karate do or aikido. These are signifying a way of interior character cultivation. Whereas jutsu, like jujitsu, things like that, like these type of things signify more of an emphasis on fighting techniques. And so there really is this deep understanding that we have to bring, that in our lives, we crave for what is the do. We crave for the way. We crave to see significance and meaning and purpose and passion in what we do. We seek for these things, not this kind of empty existence of exterior pursuits, of practical matters, of day in and day out. We don't look for that. We look for the way. What is the interior way of things in our lives? And it's interesting because in the Catholic tradition, there are two ways set out for us generally, the way of the religious life and the way of marriage. And it's really interesting to conceive of these things as representing do and representing jutsu. These two types of ways, the one that's just focused on the character development and one which is focused on the development of various practical things. And it's really important that in the Catholic understanding of marriage, we, in order to conceive of marriage as a vocation, in order to find holiness within that vocation, must make of the jutsu of marriage, and I can't really pronounce the word right, we must make a do of it. We must make a way of it. We must choose to, if we choose this path, we must choose to use it well, to use it as a means of cultivating character, of cultivating virtue, of cultivating development. We can't see it as like, okay, this is about going to work, this is about raising the kid. No, this is about your patience. This is about your closest to God in this moment. This is a path, a do. That is what we have to do to marriage, because marriage can exist when it is not a do. Marriage can be just simply jutsu. An authentic religious vocation is more aligned with what do is, because it doesn't matter. Like the thing is, the life of Saint Therese, when they wrote her biography at the end of her life, they said, well, what does her life matter? She didn't do anything. Well, because her life was do. Her life was, every action was being taken in relationship. Every action was being taken in prayer. Christ's crucifixion, what did that do? Well, because it was done in prayer, it mattered. Because it was done spiritually, it mattered. It wasn't that, okay, because you got killed. I mean, if somebody else got killed, it wouldn't change the world. But Saint Therese, the way that she suffered in union with Christ, changed the world. And she's one of the greatest saints today, even though in her life she seemed to have done nothing. The thing is, we must turn everything into the do. Everything must be into the way. So we can choose in our lives the path of the religious or the celibate life, which is ordered toward the do, which it has that interior focus, that way of the do, because then everything is understood that, like, okay, I'm not following the practical matters, so therefore by necessity, it is emphasizing the do. But the thing is, we must also understand that if we take the path of jutsu in the married life, we must convert it into the do, and must use it as do if we want it to be spiritual. So this is a very interesting way of conceiving of our lives in Christ as do or jutsu, and being able to effectively use them both. Use whatever path, whether those that are ordered to ordered directly toward meaning and purpose, like the religious life or celibacy, or indirectly ordered to those things like marriage. We have to use them in that way. And it's important to realize that sometimes we can also make the mistake of converting the religious life into jutsu. We could say, okay, well, I want this because I want an education. I want this because I want things to be quiet. I want this because, I don't want to be hurt. We can make the religious life about things that are not do type matters. And the thing is that wherever we are in life, there's that tension. It's just easier to fall prey to jutsu in the married life, and harder to fall prey to the jutsu in the do of religious life. The thing is, wherever we are, we must make everything into the do, everything into the way of Christ, which originally was the original name of the Christian tradition, which was the way. So we must make and Christ himself described himself as the truth, the way, and the life. So we have to understand this as something very deep for our Christian life, because the way must be in him, and we must do everything in him in order to make it have true meaning, true purpose, and be our true passion.